The devastating secret a billionaire hid from his son. You won't believe what happened. In a town where the shimmering skyline of towering skyscrapers touched the sun, there was a name that sent whispers through the air: Theodore Hargrove. He wasn't just wealthy, he was a titan, a god amongst men, with a wealth so immense it felt unfathomable. His parties were legends, filled with laughter echoing under crystal chandeliers. But beneath that glimmering surface hid a darkness so deep it could engulf anyone caught in its shadow. It started one Wednesday evening when the sky roared and poured mercilessly. Rain splattered against the lavish windows of Hargrove Manor, a stunning estate that loomed like a fortress. Inside, laughter turned to disbelief as the guests stared at a flickering TV screen. The news anchor, eyes wild, shared a shocking revelation that made hearts pound: billionaire Theodore Hargrove is implicated in an unspeakable scandal. The room froze, air thickening with tension, a collective gasp followed by nervous whispers. What could possibly shatter the pristine image of a man who seemed invincible? The whispers grew louder, spreading stories of hidden deals, a web of deceit that intertwined the lives of many. Among the guests was his son, Lucas, just turning 21, eyes bright with a mix of curiosity and dread. He clenched his fists, feeling a lump in his throat and a tightness in his chest. Every word he heard was a knife twisting in the dark, threatening to reveal secrets too terrible to bear. Days passed, each moment stretched thin by anticipation. The press swarmed like vultures, circling overhead, waiting for the juicy morsel of scandal. Unusual facts began slipping out: rumors of secret meetings, mysterious shipments under the cover of night, and a strange figure that seemed always to lurk in the shadows. Lucas felt his pulse quicken, something sinister brewed just beneath the surface. What had his father hidden? What skeletons lurked in the halls of their majestic home? Before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. A chilling phone call shattered his thoughts one dark night. Lucas answered, breathless, as a voice crackled through, urgent and ragged. You need to know the truth about your father, it's bigger than you can imagine. The urgency in the voice sent tremors through his body. He whispered back, heart racing, what truth? The line went silent, and just then, a loud crash erupted from the back of the house. Everything went still, his worst fears pressed upon his chest. With a pounding heart and trembling hands, Lucas edged toward the source of the sound, the shadows closing in like a thick fog. What had his father hidden all this time? As he opened the door to the basement, the air was heavy, a curious mix of must and secrets. Was he ready for the truth? Would he like what he found? The door creaked, and the echo of his breath seemed to fill the cave-like space. As the door swung open, the flickering light revealed a hidden room. The sight before him twisted his gut, it felt unreal. There, stacked high, were crates labeled with symbols that only whispered of danger. He felt a gasp rising in his throat. What had his father done? The chilling truth loomed ahead, ready to devour him whole. Would he uncover it? Or would this secret consume them all? Lucas stepped further into the dimly lit room, hands trembling as he reached for one of the ominous crates. His heart hammered in his chest, each beat echoing the urgency of the situation. Lifting the lid, he hesitated. What was he about to uncover? The contents inside sent a chill racing through him. Stacked high were documents, neatly organized, but they had a sinister feel to them. He grabbed a few sheets, scanning frantic words and disjointed thoughts. They detailed transactions, huge sums, names that danced across danger's edge, and promises written in blood. A thick air of dread wrapped around him. Every piece of paper was a breadcrumb, leading him deeper into a dark forest of betrayal. What kind of business was his father involved in? Who were the people referenced in hasty notes? Suddenly, a noise broke the silence. The creak of the floor above him. Lucas shot his head up, pulse racing. Was it just his imagination, or was someone in the house? He stepped back, eyes darting, every nerve in his body electrified. He had to know more, but fear clutched him tightly. Should he confront whoever it was? Or hide and listen? Before he could decide, a shadow crossed the edge of his vision. Lucas froze, breath hitching in his throat. Was it his father? Or someone else? The door to the basement had barely closed and light steps echoed from above. He strained to hear, body taut, holding on to the weight of the documents he'd just seen. Then he heard a voice, low and gravelly, "We have to move the shipment by midnight." When Lucas caught the name Hargrove, his blood ran cold. It was a voice he didn't recognize, someone else who shared a connection to his father's web of secrets that he cursed himself for not having thought this through. His father's hidden life was dragging him in, threatening to pull him under. What was this shipment? What danger lurked if it didn't move on time? And who was the man collapsing the house of cards Theodore had built? Lucas had to find out, even if it meant confronting the unknown. Cautiously, he crept up the basement stairs, barely able to breathe. Each step creaked beneath his weight, a heartbeat in the bleak night. As he reached the top, he took a moment to steady himself and smooth his hair down. He needed to blend in, to uncover the truth without being detected. The voice continued, and he leaned against the wall, just out of sight. "If we don't act fast, everything blows up. Hargrove will lose it all. What do we do?" Lucas's heart felt like it was in his throat. His father was in trouble and had gotten tangled in something dangerous, and now it tangled Lucas, too. He had to be on guard. Suddenly, the door swung open and a tall figure stood outlined against the dim light. Lucas held his breath, eyes wide. Was this the moment he confronted danger? The figure stepped in, revealing a man in a tailored suit, face obscured by a shadow. "Where's Theodore?" the man called out, searching the main floor of the house. "We don't have time for games. He should be here." Lucas's mind raced. His father was in deeper than he could have imagined, and those hidden businesses could lead his life crashing down. Who was this man, and what were the stakes? Outside, the rain pounded harder, a backdrop to the chaos unfolding within the manor. Lucas made his move, quietly backing away from the door. What should he do next? He felt the weight of the voices, the documents, and the truth pressing on him. Echoes of tension filled the air. Could it be that Lucas was in way over his head? He knew it was now or never. His heart thudded as he pressed himself against the wall, deciding whether to speak or flee. But one thing kept flashing in his mind: what if he was the only one who could stop the unraveling nightmare? Would he leverage what he had learned, risk his father's wrath, or would he run, leaving the secrets hidden once again? The decision hung in the air, a heavy fog as thick as the secrets cloaking Hargrove Manor. Lucas's heart pounded like a war drum, drowning out the frantic thoughts racing in his mind. He clenched the documents tightly, feeling their rough edges bite into his skin. This was a moment that defined him: catch the truth or run. The man in the suit continued to search the room, casting shadows against the walls. Lucas moved silently against the grain of time and thought. He needed to make a choice: stay and risk everything, or slip away into the night, leaving the haunting unknown behind. "Where is he?" the man hissed again, his frustration palpable. "Damn it, Theodore needs to get down here." Lucas swallowed hard, uncertainty swirling in his gut. Was he ready to confront this stranger? What if the man was as dangerous as the documents suggested? Suddenly, a voice broke through the near silence, a familiar one. "I'm right here," Theodore called, his tone sharp and commanding. Lucas flinched at the sound, all instincts screaming for him to duck away. "Get in here." The suited man snapped back, urgency gripping his words. Lucas peered around the corner, just enough to glimpse the emotional chaos playing out. His father stood at the top of the stairs, face tense and drawn. The two men were face to face now, the air thick with something unspoken. "Do you realize what's at stake?" The man asked, voice low but edged with fury. Hargrove will destroy everything if we don't move now. We can't delay. I wouldn't be here if I had a choice, Theodore replied, frustration bleeding through his calm facade. I'm juggling too many fires. What were they talking about? Panic coursed through Lucas as he sank back against the wall, the truth undulating like a swell beneath him. Had his father made a deal with Hargrove? Had he placed them both in jeopardy? The man's face twisted, revealing sharp angles of desperation. You know what this means, right? You're making the wrong friends, wrong enemies. You think you can just play in this world and still come out alive? I'm aware, Theodore snapped. That's why I need you to keep it together. Lucas felt the weight of their tension twist in his chest. This wasn't just about secrets anymore, it was about survival. Every word suggested a crack in the foundation beneath their lives. But before Lucas could react, a sharp noise cut through the room, a sound that made his stomach drop. A door swung open somewhere, followed by hurried voices. Did you hear that? The man turned toward the sound, instinctively reaching for something under his jacket. Lucas's instincts kicked in. He couldn't be discovered now, he had to find safety. He turned heel, slipping down the hallway, his senses heightened. Every inch felt wrong. Shadows morphed into imaginary threats as he stumbled backward. He could hear murmurs, footsteps, and the soft thud of his own heart. But then he paused, caught in the darkness of a doorway. Should he keep running, or should he risk it all by demanding answers from his father? Would confronting Theodore mean plunging himself deeper into a world coded in danger? A voice echoed through the hall, a voice he had feared to question. The shipment is non-negotiable, it rang out, cutting the air like a knife. You're already in the deep end. Lucas clenched his fists, teeth on edge. The stakes were rising far beyond anything he could have imagined. A hot surge of adrenaline coursed through him, he was entangled in something far more complex than he had wanted. This was a labyrinth of deceit that threatened to swallow him whole. As he glanced toward the darkened room where his father stood, a thought pierced through, would knowing the truth free him, or would it ruin him? In the next breath, something shifted behind him. The door creaked open, and he turned, a pair of eyes locking onto his. You shouldn't be here, the stranger whispered, and Lucas felt his world tilting dangerously. Before he could respond, Lucas knew one thing for sure, the moment had come to face the shadows hunting him. What awaited him in the darkness? Lucas's pulse raced as he stared into the stranger's eyes. They were cold, calculating, like a predator sizing up its prey. He felt trapped, cornered in a way he never anticipated. The man's features were obscured in the dim light, but Lucas could sense a palpable tension. What do you want? Lucas managed to croak, keeping his voice steady despite the storm swirling within him. Your father has made a mess of things, the stranger whispered, casting a wary glance over his shoulder. I should have known he'd involve you. Why? The word slipped out before he could stop himself. He wanted answers. Needed them. Because he can't keep you safe anymore, the man replied, his expression slipping between urgency and something darker, sinister almost. Hargrove is coming, and he'll leave no stone unturned. You must understand there's more at risk than you know. The mention of Hargrove sent a chill down Lucas's spine. The name had been whispered in a slew of fragmented conversations, always laced with dread. What had his father done to provoke such a figure? Why should I trust you? Lucas felt anger bubble beneath his skin, fighting back against the fear gnawing at him. What do you have to gain by telling me this? A smirk crossed the stranger's lips, one that sent a wave of nausea through Lucas. I'm not here to play the hero. I'm here to make sure you're alive when this is all over. Before he could respond, the howling storm of footsteps echoed through the hallway again, louder this time, jagged like shards of glass piercing the air. Lucas looked toward the noise, his heart racing as fear tangled with a desperate need to understand. Come with me, the man urged, reaching for Lucas's arm. We don't have time. Lucas yanked his arm back. And if I say no? The man's gaze sharpened as a flicker of irritation crossed his face. Listen. This isn't about you and me. This is about survival. If you care about what happens next, you need to trust me. Your father is already compromised. A surge of fury filled Lucas, but deep down, a cold knot of dread twisted tighter. He felt his world narrowing to this moment, this choice. Your father is hiding something. I have proof. The man pulled out a device, the screen flickering to life. Lucas leaned closer, squinting at the images: a shipment label, confidential documents, and details tied to his father's business. What is this? Lucas felt the blood drain from his face as the implications sank in. Evidence, the stranger said, voice low and trembling. Evidence that could end all of this: the threats, the endangerment of lives. We can't let it fall into the wrong hands. Then the door at the far end crashed open. Bright lights flooded the hall, and an unfamiliar voice bellowed, Lucas. Lucas's heart dropped as he recognized it. It was his father. A voice of authority. And right behind him, the man in the suit, dangerous and relentless. Run! The stranger hissed, pushing Lucas back toward the darkness. Don't look back. Lucas hesitated, torn between his father's desperate call and the ominous urgency of his new companion. Lucas! Get here now! Theodore's voice was sharper than steel, panic laced into each syllable. Every instinct screamed for him to obey, but something else surged within: curiosity mixed with fear. If he turned his back now, would he unravel the threads of the truth forever? He took a breath, adrenaline coursing through him, and made his choice. Who are you? He shot back at the stranger one last time, refusing to leave without clarity. The man glanced toward the encroaching light, desperation sharpening his features. I'm the only chance you have at uncovering your father's darkest secrets. You either follow me, or this ends right here, for both of us. The light grew brighter, and Lucas knew he had mere seconds left. What would he decide? Would he run toward the unknown, or step back into the safety of his father's world? The choices spiraled in front of him, each one darker than the last. His moment hung in the balance, alive with tension. With a final glance at the doorway and what lay behind him, Lucas made his decision. But would it lead to a revelation or to the edge of oblivion? Lucas turned, the echo of his father's voice chasing after him like a ghost. The dimness wrapped around him like a protective cloak as he sprinted into the corridor, heart hammering in his chest. Behind him, he could hear the loud footsteps, advancing, relentless. Keep moving. The stranger shouted, urgency punctuating his tone. Beneath the fear clawing at Lucas's insides, a part of him found assurance in the man's fervor. They dodged through a narrow passage, the air thick with tension and the scent of damp concrete. Lucas felt the weight of his decision settle in his gut. Was he running toward the truth or deeper into the abyss? Who is Hargrove? Lucas blurted, breathless. What does he want with me? Your father's past is tangled with dangerous people, the stranger replied, focusing on the path ahead. Hargrove is not just anyone. He's a player in a game where you're merely a pawn. But a valuable pawn, nonetheless. The word struck Lucas like a punch. The life he thought he led, safe and structured, was now unraveling before him. He wanted to rage against the betrayal, to cling to the threads of normalcy that had begun to fray. Why didn't he tell me? Lucas felt his voice tremble, a mix of anger and sorrow bubbling to the surface. Why keep me in the dark? The stranger glanced back, a flicker of understanding passing through his expression. To keep you safe from this world. But Hargrove is closing in. Your father's silence will cost you dearly if you don't act quickly. As they turned down another corridor, the lights flickered above them, casting ominous shadows that danced along the walls. Lucas couldn't shake the feel of being watched, the heavy presence of dread creeping closer. Suddenly, a loud crash erupted from the distance, sending Lucas's heart leaping into his throat. What was that? He halted, panic surging within him. We need to keep moving. The stranger urged, grabbing Lucas's arm. No. I won't just run without knowing. Lucas protested, digging his heels in. Then you'll never know, the man whispered, urgency filling his voice. Trust me, Lucas. If you stay here, you'll have no chance to uncover the truth. Hargrove will eliminate anyone who stands in his way. The word struck home hard, slicing through Lucas's defiance. What did he truly know about his father? We can expose him together, the man said, his voice taut with resolve. But only if you choose to take the leap. Are you with me? A haunting silence settled in the air, thick enough to swallow thoughts and fears. Lucas's mind raced over everything he had learned, every detail he had brushed aside. A storm of emotions churned inside him: betrayal, purpose, fear. I don't even know your name. He finally said, searching the man's eyes for a flicker of trust. Eli, the stranger replied, his eyes steady but filled with urgency. And I'm your best shot at finding out the truth. If we don't get out of here soon, we'll become part of the collateral damage. The distant shouts echoed louder, the shuffle of feet growing dangerously close. Lucas felt the pull of the impending confrontation crashing over him like a tidal wave. With his heart pounding in his ears, he made his choice. Swallowing hard, he nodded once, determination igniting a spark within. Okay, Eli. Let us find the truth. Just then, the lights overhead flickered violently before plunging into darkness. An ear-piercing sound shattered the silence: a bow of metal and the unmistakable hiss of an unlocking door. What now? Lucas whispered, his breath hitching as fear surged anew. Eli's face hardened. That door could be our exit or our end. We need to decide now. They stood at the precipice of an unknown reality, the shadows threatening to close in on them. Would they dare cross the threshold into the chaos brewing on the other side? As Lucas swallowed the rising panic, he realized some doors weren't meant to be opened. But something urged him forward: curiosity, or perhaps the fuel of rebellion. Let us go, Lucas breathed, stepping toward the mystery, ready to confront whatever awaited on the other side. But as they approached the door, a chilling voice echoed from the shadows, sending a shiver down Lucas's spine. Thought you could run, did you? The voice belonged to someone he never expected. Some secrets were too dangerous to unearth, and now he was trapped in a web more tangled than he ever imagined. What had he unleashed by choosing this path? The fluorescent light sputtered back to life, revealing the form of a tall man poised in the doorway. The shadows fell away, exposing a familiar face that struck Lucas like a thunderclap. It was his father Alan. A mixture of disbelief and betrayal twisted in Lucas's gut as he took a step back. Dad? Lucas's voice cracked, disbelief coloring his words. You're here? Lucas! Alan exclaimed, his voice strained, urgency threading through every syllable. You need to listen to me. But Eli stepped in front of Lucas, his expression fierce and protective. You're the reason he's in danger. Eli shot, eyes narrowing. You've kept him in the dark when the shadows grew thick. Alan's eyes flicked between the two men. I came to find you, to bring you home. Home. Lucas scoffed, his voice rising. Is that what you call it? When was the last time you were honest with me? Now is not the time for this. Alan snapped, glancing over his shoulder as if sensing something lurking just outside their view. Hargrove's men are everywhere, and if they find me what? Lucas interrupted, anger bubbling over. They'll kill me. Is that what you're afraid of? Keeping me away keeps me safe. It keeps you safe from the truth, Alan shot back, his voice low, nearly a hiss. I didn't want you to bear this burden. Not like I had to. The weight of his father's words didn't just sit on Lucas, they crushed him under their gravity. What burden? What are you talking about? Before Alan could answer, the air shifted, tense and thick, like electricity before a storm. The door rattled on its hinges, a sound that turned Lucas's heartbeat into a war drum. Did they have time to have this argument, or would it cost him everything? "Lucas, listen," Eli urged, stepping closer, stealing a moment of attention. "We can't let fear hold us back. We need to make a plan. There's too much at stake. All I want are answers." Lucas snapped, directing his frustration at both men. "Why won't anyone tell me the truth?" "I'll explain everything," Alan began, desperation seeping into his voice. "But first, we need to get out of here. They're coming, and I need you to trust me." "Trust you?" Lucas could hardly breathe. "All of this, everything you've hidden, how can I trust you?" Eli's grip tightened around Lucas's shoulder. "We don't have luxury of time. Hargrove is relentless. He shouldn't have found you, not when you've been a ghost in his world. You think I wanted this?" Alan stepped forward, hands raised, pleading. "I did this to protect you." But Lucas felt something snap within him at the word protect. Protect? Or control? He shot back, feeling rage and pain thread through his veins. "You wrapped me in a bubble while the world out there is ready to devour us." Silence fell heavily among them, thick and oppressive, as Alan's gaze flickered momentarily toward the door. His expression darkened, shifting from conflict to sheer urgency. "Lucas," he whispered, eyes widening, "they're here." Suddenly, heavy footsteps pounded closer, each strike against the hard floor echoing like an impending countdown. Lucas's pulse raced, fear clawing at his chest. They had to move, but how could he leave with so many unanswered questions? "Get ready," Eli urged, voice steady as a rock. "We can't stick around for a confrontation. Alan, either you tell Lucas what he needs to know now, or we risk everything." "I'll tell you everything, I swear it," Alan nearly pleaded. The door splintered under the force of a violent kick. Lucas barely had a moment to process the sound before a flash of confusion and dread washed over him. A second later, the door flew open, revealing hulking silhouettes framed against the pale light of the corridor. "Time's up," Eli spat, drawing Lucas closer. Lucas's heart banged against his ribs. This was at the moment where everything would either shatter or change irrevocably. "What do we do now?" Lucas gasped, his world collapsing around him. Alan's eyes shone with a brutal new determination. "Now, we fight." He lunged forward just as the towering figures stepped into the room, their faces masked, and Lucas felt the thrill of fear and adrenaline surge through him. Would they survive this onslaught, or was Lucas stepping into a dark fate that would finally unearth the secrets buried so deep? The truth loomed larger than the threat, waiting to unravel amid the chaos. But even in the turmoil, a lingering thought hit him: what did fighting really mean when it came to his father's world? As the door splintered again, Lucas's mind raced with questions, and the reality of their fate hovered like fog. They were out of time, and what would come next could change them forever, or cost them everything. The figures poured into the dingy room like shadows spilling from a nightmare. They were massive, cloaked in black, their intentions unclear but undeniably menacing. The moment seemed to stretch, time folding in on itself. Lucas felt the air thicken, squeezing his chest tight. Alan charged forward, eyes blazing. "Get back!" he shouted, pushing Lucas and Eli behind him. The elder's adrenaline-fueled desperation was palpable, a stark contrast to the cold professionalism of the intruders. Eli swiftly scanned the room, looking for anything they could weaponize. There had to be something, anything. He spotted a rusty pipe propped against the wall and lunged for it just as the masked figures advanced. They were too close, too fast. "Lucas, stay close," Eli barked, brandishing the pipe like a sword. "We fight together." Heart racing, Lucas clutched his father's arm, feeling a strange mix of fear and a desperate need for protection. How could he trust the man who plagued him with unanswered questions? But the thought of those intruders closing in made the barrier of separation between them fade. "Alan, do you know them?" Lucas shouted, his voice strained, tension coiling around every syllable. Yes. Alan yelled back, frustration tinged with fear in his tone. But we don't have time. With a guttural roar, the largest intruder lunged forward, barreling toward Alan. The grip around Lucas's chest tightened, he could almost taste the chaos unspooling before him. Eli swung the pipe, connecting with the intruder's side, a sickening thud echoing through the space. The man staggered but didn't fall. Keep moving. Eli shouted, adrenaline pouring from him. He shoved Lucas toward a battered door at the far end of the room. No. Alan cried out, gripping Lucas's shoulders. We can't just run. We need to outsmart them. Outsmart them? Eli spat as he dodged another attack. We need to survive. Lucas's mind raced, fleeting thoughts colliding in a storm of anxiety. He thought of the bubbling tension, the knowledge Alan had withheld. In that moment of chaos, Lucas made a split-second decision. Dad, tell me the truth. Now. Alan met Lucas's eyes, the weight of years and secrets hanging heavily between them. I will explain everything later. Just know it's not what you think. The words hung in the air, wrapped in urgency, but the moment was shattered as more masked figures poured in from the hallway. Lucas's stomach dropped, dread pooling as hope slipped from his grasp. Eli fought valiantly, but he was outnumbered. Then, in a flash, one of the figures lunged towards him, tackling him to the ground, the pipe slipping from his grip. Eli! Lucas screamed, panic flooding his veins as he watched helplessly. He felt Alan's grip slide from his shoulder, the protective barrier dissolving in an instant. Without thinking, instinct kicked in. Lucas charged, fueled by a spark of furious determination. He scooped up the pipe, swinging it wildly at the nearest intruder, catching him off guard. The man staggered back with a grunt, but it didn't slow the swarm closing in. Lucas! Get back! Alan yelled, but Lucas couldn't. He didn't just want to fight, he needed answers. Then, out of the corner of his eye, he saw a flicker of light reflecting off a piece of metal in the chaos. It was the reflection of something small, hidden beneath the scattered debris. The sight teased him, an ungraspable thought spinning in his mind. What if it was a way out? Follow me. Lucas yelled, rushing toward the glowing object. The pounding of footsteps echoed around him, the distant sounds of the confrontation fading into a dull roar. Lucas, no! Alan shouted, his voice edged with panic, but Lucas didn't care. He had to grasp at the glimmer of anything that could change their fate. As he neared the object, a figure lunged from the side, crashing into him, sending them both sprawling to the ground. In that split second, the world tilted, and everything blurred then sharpened again. The heavy breathing of a masked figure above him drowned out the growing chaos. Get up! Eli shouted through gritted teeth, battling another attacker nearby. But Lucas's focus lingered on the object, a key, maybe. Whatever it was, it felt pivotal, essential. He wrestled free, reaching out. As his fingers closed around the cool metal, a searing realization dug into him like a shard of glass. This wasn't merely a fight for survival, this was the very crux of the truth he had been stripped of. And just as the final puzzle piece snapped into place in his mind, the door burst open, revealing a looming dark figure, outlined by the hallway light, an unseen puppet master working behind the curtain of chaos. Turn around, a deadly voice commanded, layered with authority and menace. Lucas's heart raced, and for the first time, the true weight of the secrets began to unspool like the string of his very life. Who was this new player? And how deep did the deception run? The fight wasn't over, it had just begun. Lucas's breath came in ragged gasps as he lay on the cold floor, feeling the weight of the world pressing down on him. The figure in the doorway loomed, a shadow birthed from the darkness that consumed the room. Turn around, the voice repeated, sharper now, slicing through the tension like a knife. Lucas felt chills race down his spine. Alan's body tensed beside him, and for a moment, he was frozen, caught in a hesitation that felt like a betrayal. Eli, consumed by the fight, struggled to keep the masked attackers at bay, ignoring the new threat. "Get up!" Eli snapped again, glancing back at Lucas, eyes wild. But something about the figure's presence held Lucas captive. Is that you, Dad?" he called out, voice trembling. "No." Alan shouted, urgency spilling into his tone. "Don't engage. Just move." But it was too late. Lucas's curiosity outweighed every instinct for caution. He shifted on the floor, painfully aware of the struggle brewing around him, and slowly turned to face the dark figure. "Looks like the family reunion is in full swing," the figure mocked, stepping into the light. Lucas's breath caught, recognition clawing through the chaos. A wide, crooked smile stretched across the figure's face, framed by sleek hair that gleamed under the flickering bulb. "Surprised to see me, Lucas?" It was a man he thought he'd never lay eyes on again. Marcus, the estranged uncle his father had spoken of only in whispers, cloaked in scandal and years of avoidance. Lucas's heart raced with confusion and shock. "Uncle Marcus?" he stammered, trying to piece together a lifetime of absent connections. The man who had once been a looming specter of his childhood was now standing in the fray, draped in dark intentions. "Look around you." Marcus gestured with exaggerated flair, surveying the chaos. "Your father's secrets have finally boiled over. Isn't it delicious?" His eyes gleamed with a dangerous joy, igniting an uneasy fire in Lucas's gut. Alan stepped forward, his face contorting with rage. "What are you doing here? This isn't your fight." "On the contrary," Marcus chuckled, taking a step toward Alan. "This is a family affair. And I'm here to collect what's rightfully mine." As more masked intruders turned their attention toward Marcus, the room erupted into disarray. Eli swung the pipe again, trying to clear a path, but the situation spiraled out of control. Lucas clambered to his feet, the cold metal key still clutched tightly in his hand. "Stay together!" Eli shouted amid the fray, but his voice was drowned out by the sporadic clashing of bodies and fierce shouts. "Why are you doing this?" Lucas yelled, heart pounding in his chest. "What do you want from us?" "I want what every family member deserves: truth, loyalty, and power," Marcus replied, casting a sidelong glance at the intruders as if testing their resolve. "I want to show you the real legacy your father has hidden from you all these years." "Legacy?" Lucas echoed, feeling the pull of those words. Was this what he had been searching for? The truth took root in his mind, curiosity battling the instincts that screamed danger. Just then, the entire structure shuddered, rattling like an old machine. The thick ceiling above creaked, and overhead lights flickered wildly. Panic swept through the figures, both Uncle Marcus and the masked attackers exchanging glances of uncertainty. "Get them!" Marcus bellowed, suddenly at odds with the chaos, his confidence wavering for the first time. In that moment of strife, the air shifted, and Lucas felt the storm of confusion swirl once more. "Lucas, we need to go. Now!" Eli shouted, his voice cutting clean through the din weight. Marcus's shout hung in the air like an electric charge. "This opportunity won't come again. You want answers. You need to come with me." Before Lucas could respond, Alan shouted, "We don't trust you." But the din of the attack was engulfing them, and Lucas was faced with a choice. Tension crackled in the air like static electricity, and just when he thought he could decide, another figure materialized in the doorway behind Marcus, clearly waiting for his moment to strike. Would he embrace the chaos unfolding or reach for the truth amid the shadows? Lucas's heart raced as he weighed his options, knowing he was standing at a crossroads that could forever alter his life. The next question echoed ominously in the chaos: how much was he willing to sacrifice for the truth? Chaos erupted around Lucas. As masked figures clashed with Eli, each swing of the pipe ignited a flicker of hope in Lucas's chest, but it quickly dimmed under the weight of uncertainty. He could feel Marcus's eyes piercing through him. The intimidating presence didn't just signify danger but hinted at the temptation of a past he never experienced. "Come on, Lucas!" Eli roared, jabbing away at another intruder. "Make a choice." The floor underfoot felt like it was shifting, every tremor a reminder that time slipped away like sand through fingers. As he stood there, caught in the crossfire of fear and curiosity, Marcus flashed a knowing smile, as if he read Lucas's mind. "Think of the power you could wield," Marcus urged, stepping a little closer, the shadows wrapping around him like a protective cloak. "Answers are waiting. Your father has kept secrets that wouldn't just shock you, they change everything." Lucas's stomach churned at the prospect. Could he trust this man who had been nothing but a ghost in his family's history, whispered of with disdain? He glanced back at Alan, desperation etched across his father's face. There was love in Alan's eyes, mixed with a fear of what this turn of events could mean. "Lucas," Alan called, his voice heavy with urgency, "stay with us. We fight together. This isn't just about you." "No." Marcus interrupted, his voice rising above the fray. "This is exactly about him, Alan. This boy deserves to know the legacy that binds your family together. Trust me, Lucas. Wouldn't you rather destroy the chains binding you than allowing them to crush you?" Lucas's eyes darted back and forth between his uncle and his father. He felt trapped, the words swirling through his mind like a whirlwind. Power. Legacy. Was he ready to step into a world filled with greed and betrayal, much like the one wrapped around Marcus? Suddenly, a loud crash echoed through the room as one of the masked assailants stumbled backward, their weapon clattering across the floor. In the ensuing moment of distraction, Lucas's choice felt almost tangible. He glanced at the key still clenched in his fist, its cold metal pressing into his palm, a tangible reminder that there was always a lock to open, a door to a past that was his. "Eli!" Lucas shouted, his voice breaking through the noise. "Get to the door. We have to stick together." Eli glanced over, eyes wide. In that heartbeat, Lucas moved unexpectedly, blurring the line between instinct and choice. He wasn't just going to fight, he was going to reclaim his narrative. Marcus laughed, a manic edge in his tone that made Lucas's skin crawl. "You think running will save you? The truth will always find you." But with determination coursing through him, Lucas turned toward Eli, signaling for him to make a break for the exit. They needed to retreat and reassess, to gather the remnants of their strength and figure out the truth, even if it meant locking eyes with Marcus once more. The masked assailants roared back to life, senses heightened by uncertainty. They regrouped, their movements shifting like shadows, and as Eli barked orders for a retreat, Lucas felt the weight of the decision crushing him once again. Behind Marcus, the new figure stepped forward, finally revealing their identity, a woman with a hard gaze that spoke of familiarity, brandishing an air of authority. The tension in the room thickened instantly. "Go ahead," she sneered, "but know this, you can't run from who you are." It was as if the ground shook under Lucas's feet, solidifying the tension spiraling above him. Who was she? Another link in the family chain? A threat or an ally? In that swirling chaos, Lucas's pulse quickened and the world began to blur. This fight wasn't over. It was only just beginning. What had they been hiding from him? What truths clung to the shadows, waiting for the right moment to surface? The unanswered questions echoed louder than the chaos around him, each pulse quickening his heart. Lucas took a deep breath, ready to step into the unknown where his fate awaited in the decision he had to make next. The moment hung suspended, the air crackling with tension as Lucas stood on the brink of a choice that would redefine everything. The chaos spun around him, but all he could focus on was the weight of his father's secrets pressing down like a lead blanket. Alan's intense gaze urged him forward, while Marcus's twisted smile invited him into a darkness he barely understood. "Lucas!" Alan yelled, desperation lacing his voice, "We don't have time. Why didn't you tell me?" The words erupted from Lucas, the pent-up frustration spilling out. "Why keep me in the dark? I deserve the truth. Enough. Marcus bellowed, his voice slicing through the noise. Time to decide, Lucas. You can chase shadows or seize the truth. The glimmer of danger in his eyes was unmistakable. Your destiny is waiting. Alan glared at Marcus. Don't drag him into your lies. You think this is a game? Lucas's heart raced, confusion coiling tightly in his chest. He had thought he wanted answers, but now that they were within reach, they felt almost suffocating. In that moment, a realization hit him like a bolt of lightning. What legacy did he want? Was it power and betrayal, or love and truth? His pulse thundered as he glanced at Eli, who was still trying to fend off a masked intruder. We need to go. Lucas shouted urgently, but the fight raged on, every swing of Eli's makeshift weapon a battle cry for survival. Lucas! Eli yelled back, frustration pouring out, get to the exit. We will figure this out later. But that felt wrong. Turning away now would mean leaving behind a part of himself, the piece that yearned to know who he was, where he came from. Stay with us, please. Alan reached out, but Lucas hesitated, torn. Then, a loud crash roared in the room, followed by chaos erupting as a figure lunged toward Eli. It sent adrenaline surging through Lucas, sparking something fierce and primal. He had to act. I am going to choose my own path. He shouted, pallor washed over him, but anger ignited the darkness. He ripped away from Alan's desperate grasp and turned to Marcus. What's your offer? The truth, Marcus grinned, stepping closer. You'll be more powerful than you know. Join me, help me reclaim our family's narrative. Stop tempting him. Alan's voice cut through again. He doesn't need you. Lucas was silent, weighing Marcus's words against the love he felt for his father. And just as that choice swirled within him, the masked figures surged forward. Fight! Eli urged, swinging the pipe with deadly aim, clearing a path for Lucas to follow. In that same heartbeat, the decision snapped into focus. Lucas clenched the key he had found tightly. This was a key to understanding, a metaphorical key to his life, to unlock the door that had held back years of truth. Lucas! Alan's voice drifted, pulling him back yet again. This was his chance. The choice was his to embrace. Fueled by resolve, Lucas surged forward, darting past Marcus, feeling the weight of unspoken words hanging in the air. Alan shouted. What are you doing? But Lucas knew. He dodged masked figures, moving toward Eli, who bobbed and weaved, making room for escape. Together, the adrenaline surged through them like veins of fire. Eli! Lucas shouted, let us go. They dashed through the chaos, racing toward the exit, the door looming ahead like a beacon of hope. Behind them, the tumult of a struggle echoed, each sound a reminder of the chaos left behind. Lucas, please. Alan's voice echoed, thin with panic. But Lucas felt something shift inside him. He no longer had to choose between loyalty or truth. He could forge a path that honored both. As they crashed through the door, the cool night air enveloped them, a stark contrast to the storm of emotion still raging within. They stood outside, breathless. Lucas turned back, uncertainty flickering on the edge of his determination. Whatever happens next, I need to know, Lucas whispered, half to himself, half to the night. Then we'll unravel it together, Eli promised, eyes glinting with resolution. But first, we need to get far away from here. As they sprinted into the dark, Lucas felt a strange sense of empowerment in the uncertainty. He was hurtling toward the unknown, ready to confront the fragmented pieces of his life and the truth that lay hidden beneath layers of secrets. Behind them, Hargrove and his men kept hunting, but Lucas knew one thing, he had chosen to fight for the truth, his truth. And as the shadows faded behind him, he felt something brighter stirring, power resting within his grasp. This was only the beginning. Before they disappeared into the darkness, Lucas took one last look back at the mansion that once held his secrets. Freedom pulsed through him, igniting a newfound strength. He would discover his own legacy, no matter the cost. Now was the time to break the chains and reclaim his path. You need to subscribe now. Don't miss the next exclusive story revealing the secrets yet to unfold. Smash the like button now to help fuel the algorithm and keep the adventure alive. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about what just happened. Your voices matter. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to witness this thrilling conclusion. Let us keep the journey alive together, no secrets hidden.